Hi, everyone, and welcome to Studio Jake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Welcome to my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture from film, anime, television, so much more. Thank you so much for joining me today. All right, so diving right into it. It's over. The massive labor strike from the Screen Actors Guild has finally come to an end. That's right. The failed actors union as well as the annoying studios have reached an agreement that that SAG is touting, and of course they're not releasing the full details, even though they literally are you know making a deal on behalf of 160,000 actors. But of course they won't release the deal until the national board reviews it. Golly, so then what was the point of announcing it anyway? The the SAG strike is over. Now, hopefully, actors have learned their lesson that the populace doesn't really care about them, and that instead of going on social media or TV interviews or going on The View for some reason and giving us moral high horse lectures, they're just going to go to acting and occasionally wish us a Merry Christmas. I'm just kidding. They never stop doing that. They never stop moralizing. The same industry that uplifted Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and Roman Polanski. No, no, no. They're not going to ever stop being weirdos and moralizing to us because they're rich. So they think they're better than us. And it's so silly. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being rich. I wish I was rich. But being rich doesn't automatically put you on a moral high horse. Let's be real. And it's really funny watching, all of Hollywood celebrate. Oh, there were actors crying and, in picket lines and at red carpet premieres. The deal. Yeah. It's just a 3-year deal. It hasn't even been approved by the SAG board. So absolutely ridiculous. So this is according to The Hollywood Reporter. I would read Deadline, but Deadline has been licking the boots of the SAG strikers. I'm surprised their reporters and their photographers don't, their tongues aren't all infected from the amount of boot licking that they did. Anyway, SAG AFTRA is calling its newly minted strike ending agreement with studios and streamers that will benefit every category of its membership. In a statement Wednesday night, the union's TV theatrical negotiating committee said the tentative agreement is a deal of extraordinary scope that includes substantial pay increases, guardrails for the use of artificial intelligence, and what it calls a streaming participation bonus. Man, wouldn't it be great if plumbers, teachers, firefighters, policemen got a streaming bonus? Wouldn't that be fantastic? The negotiating committee said it won't release full details of the agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers until the SAG-AFTRA National Board reviews it. The statement, however, said the union won above pattern pay increases, raises for background actors, and increased caps on pension and health funds, in addition to extra streaming composition and AI projections. So then they have a statement from the studios, which I think is kind of funny because SAG went on strike in their union, but then the studios have their own union, the AMPTP, and of course they're going to deny that it's a union. It's a union. So this is what they said. Today's tentative agreements represents a new paradigm. It gives SAG-AFTRA the biggest contract-on-contract gains in the history of the union, including the largest increase in minimum wages in the last 40 years, a brand new residual for streaming programs, extensive consent and compensation protections in the use of artificial intelligence, and sizable contract increases on items across the board. The AMPTP is pleased to have reached a tentative agreement and looks forward to the industry resuming the work of telling great stories. Since when? I haven't seen any great films other than Oppenheimer and the Mario Brothers movie. All right. So then the Hollywood Reporter has the statement from SAG. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but one of the things I was criticized for is on X, formerly known as Twitter. Anytime they would post like an actor on the picket line, I would always post that actor's net worth. And yes, I know not all net worths are totally accurate, but anytime I saw someone who I knew was like a really wealthy actor, or I would make a joke about them or about the strike in general. And I was really criticized for this because, like, you don't understand. It's about the background actors and whatnot. They don't get any pay. They're represented by SAG and me. They don't get health care. And it's like, okay, so these background actors, they're not getting the same amount as, say, a Matt Damon, but They're paying their union dues, but SAG still won't give them health care. Okay, that's SAG committing wage discrimination. If you can't pay for your dues healthcare, for your due paying members' healthcare, then you shouldn't enter that person into the union. But see, that's why I always say unions today, for whatever they used to be, they're scams, and all of these actors could just use their agents and just negotiate their own contracts. They don't need a union. Same with the background actors. They don't need SAG anymore, but we're stuck in this age-old thing of, oh, labor, 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 labor. For one thing, acting isn't a form of labor. They want to remind us on an hourly basis that they're artistes. Okay, well, artistes don't do that kind of thing. And I'm saying that as a writer. It's like I don't need to join a union to promote my work or be a part of my work. I do it and I let it stand on its own merits. And that's what acting should be. But no, we've got to use a mafia front, I mean, a union to do all these connections and whatnot. And listen, if you think I'm out of base comparing unions to, communist spy rings and mafia fronts, look up histories of union. You will be surprised just how many of them were actually fronts for nefarious organizations. And SAG, no different. Think about it. How did Bill Cosby, go so long? And I know that he was getting criticized for some of his political opinions by other celebrities, but come on, let's be real. Him and guys like Matthew Broderick or other celebrities who have committed heinous crimes and got a slap in the wrist have have just moved on with barely any recompense. Think about all the celebrity perverts out there who have are registered sex offenders, and they're still getting roles out there because the union protects them. That's what it's the same with the teachers union. It's the same with any other union of that manner where they claim that they're labor. Okay, are you an artist or are you a laborer? Because those are two different things. And like I said, as a writer, I am saying that. But anyway, I wanted to highlight this portion of their statement. In a contract valued at over $1 billion, we have achieved a deal of extraordinary scope that includes above pattern minimum compensation increases, unprecedented provisions for consent and compensation that will protect members from the threat of AI, from the first time for the first time establishes a streaming participation bonus. Our pension and health gaps have been substantially raised, which will bring much needed value to our plans. In addition, the deal includes numerous improvements for multiple categories, including outsized compensation increases for background performers and critical contract provisions protecting diverse communities. Okay, that last part was just pandering. But listen, in a contract value at over $1 billion, this was not about a fair deal. This was about money. I was criticized so much for posting net worth of actors who were on the picket line. And I kept saying this is just about millionaires getting more millions. Oh, look who was right. In their own statement, they assign a dollar value to the contract that they made. I'll accept your apologies now, those of you criticizing me in the comments or on my X profile. That's what this was about. It was all about money. It wasn't about AI protection for background actors. SAG doesn't give a crap about the background actors. They don't even really give a crap about the B-listers. They care about their big members. Just remember, this strike was getting no momentum because Fran Drescher and that Duncan Crabtree Ireland guy, the two of them were getting nothing done. Those two should be kicked out of SAG. They did a terrible job handling this. And what happened? It took George Clooney, Ryan Reynolds, and a handful of other actors who just wanted to move on. Ryan Reynolds wants to make Deadpool 3, and George Clooney wants to make more Nespresso commercials. So all of that, it took them stepping in to finally get the ball rolling on this because SAG leadership is poor, it's bad, and it was all about the money. Remember, those B-listers and those background actors, they were on the picket line. Some of them were losing their homes. Some of them were sleeping in their cars. And what was SAG doing to help them? Nothing. Supposedly all these wealthy celebrities were donating money to help out those strikers. Where did that money go? We don't even know. I don't doubt that George Clooney and was it Seth Rogen wrote massive checks to help out the strikers, but we never heard that from a B-lister or a background actor saying, "Oh, thank goodness they wrote those big checks because now it helps out." And now that the strike's over, what is SAG gonna do with that money? I guarantee you they're not just gonna put it in the bank. They're just gonna use it to enrich their board, their president, as terrible as she is, and their A-listers, get them monies with the studios. And listen, I'm not pro studio. Anyone who watches my channel know how much I rail against the studios. I call them corporate overlords, especially in how they handle some of my favorite IPs. So it's got nothing to do with protecting the studios. All of Hollywood needs to burn down. In fact, the Hollywood system where all the power players are just in Hollywood and New York and Atlanta, that whole system needs to change. This whole how everything, how deals are made in Hollywood needs to be changed. It's an old, outdated system, and that is controlled by a bunch of morally reprehensible people who then want to lecture me about how I live my life. No, bump that noise, as the kids say. We're done with it. And that's why, because I even remember back when there was this huge strike back when I was a teenager, then people were getting involved. People were like, oh, yeah, I see the actors and the writers' points and blah, blah, blah. I understand all that. But then now, if you noticed, no one cared. No one was thinking, oh man, I really hope that this strike ends soon. No one was thinking that. Everyone pretty much ignored it for the most part. Why is that? Because they knew that as soon as the strike is over, they're going to go right back to moralizing us all over again. You can see it in these TV show interviews that they've been doing. They honestly think that they are our betters, and they're not, just because they're on the screen. It's been like this since the olden days. This is nothing new in the entertainment industry or in show business. They've always had a way to moralize to us because they think that their artwork is supposed to be some sort of moral statement, and it's not. I don't disagree that art is supposed to tell a story, that it's supposed to uplift humanity or even highlight a social problem, but the problem is that's not what they do. And this generation of actors and actresses, they don't do that. They want to grandstand. They want to make obtuse political statements. They want to backstab their friends on baseless accusations. I always say in the comedy duo that was James Franco and Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen throws someone who he purported that was his best friend under the bus. And now we get to see James Franco was really the genius behind that duo, because every single thing Seth Rogen has made since then has been a massive flop. And so I didn't miss them grandstanding. I hope that, quite frankly, I was hoping the strike would go on longer so we wouldn't have to listen to them whine anymore. But that's not the case anymore. The strike is over. I guess kudos for them and their new money making machine. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment and tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.